dig yourself out today?
Yeah, I actually, I have a garage, so my car was in the garage, and when I came out of the driveway, you know how when they plow the street, everything piles right at the bottom of your driveway. So I got stuck at the bottom of my driveway, so I had to dig myself out of there. So
Yeah, I'm halfway through that myself. So, hey, there's a lot of focus on what you guys were able to do and not do in PA this year. What did you think about the job you guys did in the state, and what were some of the things that where maybe there were some difficulties? What maybe led to that? Thank you.
Yeah, so in-state recruiting, obviously it's a priority for us. We got Khalil Dinkins and Lonnie White, a couple guys in the class, Nate Bruce. And obviously when the talent is there, we want to achieve and get all those guys. We've made a more conscious effort to offer the state earlier. One of the other changes was that I now cover the Philadelphia area and the surrounding county. So we're just trying to be a little bit more aggressive early in the process, meaning sophomore year, offers get going out, being a little more active in that. We've been a lot more selective and waiting in the process, and we feel like that's kind of put us behind the eight ball. So we made a couple of adjustments going forward.
Audrey Snyder, and then Frank Bodani, you're on deck.
Hey, Terry, thanks for your time.
Sure.
Going off Mark's point about Pennsylvania, I wanted to look specifically at Philadelphia and the area that Andy said, you're now, also recruiting in. What do you guys think you need to do there to kind of get a better footing at some of those powerhouse programs there? Because, you look where some of the best guys are coming from, and Philadelphia certainly is a really important part of that.
It's all about relationships. We got to build stronger relationships. We got to build greater faith and trust with those coaching staffs. And then we have to get those programs more active into our summer camps programs, where those guys are coming up for 7-on-7 camp and individual camp, and we're being more active once we're allowed to get back on the road to make sure we're a staple in those facilities and programs. So it's a conscious effort, and we know a place like St. Joe's Prep, and many other programs across the state, we've got to make sure we're getting those top guys from there.
Frank Bodani, and then Joe Giuliano, you're on deck.
Hey, good morning, Terry. Your DBs from the outside, it looks kind of up and down this season in the performance with pass defense. How do you rate, or how would you look at how your guys have done as compared to where you thought they would be at this point this year? Just explain your thoughts on them.
Yeah, so early in the season, we gave up a few balls that got behind us. Toward the middle of the season, we completely fixed it. And then in this last game, we had a couple balls go up over our heads. And then at halftime of the game, we fixed that solution. So the one thing that we've done is we've gotten a much more mature group that handles adjustments better. We've shown that, at one point we were the 22nd rated team in pass coverage in the country. So we just have to eliminate the big plays. That's been the problem. On a consistent basis, we've covered very well. We just got to find that consistency of not giving up the one play touchdown. And that was the problem in the Maryland game. That was the problem in the Ohio State game.
Joe Giuliano, then Nate Bauer.
Good morning, Terry. I just wondered, getting back to your cornerbacks, how do you feel about the fact that even though you haven't had the depth, I know that you would like that your guys have come through, 3 and 4 to a game. What's been your thoughts on that, especially during the winning streak?
Yeah, I'm really proud of the group. We went into Michigan game with 3 corners. We finished this past weekend against Michigan State with basically 2.5 corners. When we went to our nickel package, one of our corners could barely walk out there, and yet he was tough enough to handle the responsibility. So, these guys have answered the bell. I'm proud of what they've done this season. It's been a tough year in a number of different ways, but these guys have played really, really well. They've played resilient. They've played tough. They've played smart. Not perfect, but these guys, I love these guys, and I'm happy they're all coming back. So,
Nate Bauer, then Sean Fitz.
Hey, Terry. Yesterday, James mentioned keeping an eye out, obviously, for the late signing period at defensive end and maybe even the transfer portal. But I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about Rodney McGraw and what you feel like he brings to the table. And then for you personally, does the transfer portal fall under the recruiting coordinator purview? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, Rodney McGraw, brings a well-needed defensive end edge pressure guy. He has a lot of toughness, brings good speed and athleticism. These past few years, we've been really, really fortunate to have some great edge guys. Obviously, both our edge guys, Shaka and Owe, are all Big Ten type guys, and they'll be NFL guys. And McGraw, we feel like he's going to be a good guy like that as well. So obviously, he's got to come in and develop. But we're extremely excited about him coming. The transfer portal. I'm assuming it is a part of my responsibility because it's new talent acquisition. So this is all new. 2020 has brought so many different changes. So we're going to embrace it. Obviously there's going to be some guys that leave us that maybe we're not anticipating to leave. Like every program. It's going to happen across the country. It's essentially free agency. So we're just going to embrace it, and hopefully we can grab 3, 4, maybe 5 guys of critical need. We probably need another defensive end and another defensive back for sure on the defensive side.
Sean Fitz and then Mark Brennan.
Terry, you guys were able to break into Detroit this year. Can you talk about how you guys managed to do that? And then the 4 guys that you signed were on the defensive side of the ball. What do you say about the King brothers, Budden and Jalen Reed as well?
Yeah, obviously Coach Banks, has a big presence there in Detroit, being from there, being from King High School where Jalen Reed is from. He does a great job of facilitating our recruiting and the relationships with all the coaches there. Talking about Kalen and Kobe, out of Cass Tech, Coach Wilcher, who's their coach, he does a great job with that program. These guys are well coached. They're good students of the game. They're good people. They're good young men. Kobe's the type of kid that will come here and be a future captain for us. He's a tremendous leader, tremendous work ethic. Kalen is an elite athlete. And I think you guys saw from his senior film what we had seen in his junior film, and he took it to a whole nother level. So just excited about the opportunity of him coming in and having an immediate impact to help us get better. Jamari, I remember seeing him at Sound Mind, Sound Body Camp like 2 years ago, and he was playing tight end, and he instantly stood out. And I was like, who's that guy? Just excited about his athleticism, his speed. He's a violent football player, so in a good way. And we're just excited to get him. And then Jalen Reed is another guy that's a tremendous leader type guy. He's a super smart guy on the back end, can get everyone lined up, playmaker. He's physical. He's an in-the-box guy that can come down. Physical, kind of like in the sense of Marcus Allen type of guy. So we're just excited about this group coming out of Detroit.
Mark Brennan, then Joe Giuliano.
Terry, with the DBs you're bringing in the last couple of years, you've had an opportunity to play guys relatively early. Do you see any of these guys, either the Detroit guys or Wheatley, being kind of guys who can make an impact immediately?
Yeah, if you look at our history, each year there's 1 or 2 guys that's going to play as a freshman. Who they are, they kind of determine that when they get on campus with their work ethic, their knowledge of the system, the weight room training, and just the overall maturity of stepping on the campus. So, Not sure who will be the immediate impact, but we're looking for an immediate impact at safety and an immediate impact at corner. So, hopefully it's 2 guys, or maybe it could be 3 guys.
Joe Giuliano, then Nate Bauer.
Terry, Lonnie White is one of the kids in our coverage area, and I just wondered what your thoughts were about his talent and his versatility. It seems like he could play just about any position or one of 2 sports. How does that? Can that be a detriment, do you think, or is that something that you embrace?
Sure, you definitely embrace it. Lonnie White is kind of like the old school Penn State guy. When Paterno used to recruit, he'd recruit multi-sport athletes, guys that can do a little bit of anything, kind of like Sean Lee and all those guys. He's a tremendous talent. He could play on either side of the ball. He can play DB, all the way maybe Sam linebacker as well. And obviously we recruited him and signed him as a receiver. He's fast. He's got great size, great length. He's got great ball skills. He's tremendously smart and very humble, hardworking. And obviously he's a tremendous baseball player. They're saying he's going to be drafted really, really high in baseball. So we're just happy we have him, and as he comes on campus, man, we look forward to him contributing.
Nate Bauer and then Corey Geiger.
Terry, earlier, just building on the transfer portal stuff and the Wild West kind of nature of it. How are you preparing for this? Like, what do you have to compare it to? How do you feel like you're kind of going to attack it?
Well, the biggest thing, is to be organized with a portal of guys that you legitimately think can fit you. The hard part is there's going to be a million guys go into this portal, but if we don't know them, how can they come into our program, like we do with this recruiting process? So, we'd rather it be a guy that some type of way we've already recruited him, or there's prior relationship, whether I knew a kid that he's from Pittsburgh, but maybe we didn't get him the first time or something like that, or, one of our territories that we recruit really, really hard. Those are the preferred guys that there's a relationship already built. But there may be a case where, there wasn't any relationship and there's a need at whatever the position is. And, we just have to go out there and within these next 2 weeks, figure out the relationship, if they're a fit athletically and off the field, do they fit our culture? All good players don't fit Penn State. So we got to make sure that we don't get the wrong fit for our locker room.
Corey Geiger, then Mark Brennan.
Harry, do you see this giving players a lot more power going forward, that they have the ability to transfer? How do you see that dynamic playing out?
I don't know if power is the right word. I think it gives them options. But there's the old adage, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And, I've talked to a few players that have left us prior that played at other universities and they wish they could come back. And these are kids that are having success at their other schools. So, it's like a relationship. In that relationship, you love that person, but they do have flaws. And can you withstand the flaws of that person? Every program has some flaws in it. So whether you come to Penn State or you go to Ohio State or any other university, there's flaws everywhere. There's pros and cons. So, the players just have to know that and understand that. And at the end of the day, they just have to do what they feel is best for themselves.
Mark Brennan, then Sean Fitz.
Terry, you talked about a bunch of the other kids, but I wonder if you could tell us what Wheatley and Davis bring to the table. And do those guys project as safety and corner, or do you figure that out when they get here?
Yeah, we'll figure it out when they get here. Jeff Davis, he's tremendous talent, great speed, 4.4 speed, really, really quick, great ball skills, really smart, down-to-earth kid. tremendous athlete. Just, I think day one he'll start out at corner, and then we'll figure this process out with him. Zaki brings tremendous flexibility, position flexibility. With his size, his length, his speed, his athleticism, he can play the corner or either of the safety positions and possibly the dime and the nickel as well. So both kids are really smart kids. Both kids come from great families, great backgrounds, great high school coaching. So we're really excited about the opportunity of these guys. And, as they step foot on campus, we'll sort through the initial position they'll play. But hopefully they'll have an immediate impact for us.
Sean Fitz and then Nate Bauer.
Terry, can you speak of the frustration of this cycle in terms of sort of a helplessness type feeling when you can't get kids on campus for visits and there's only so much you can do elsewise? What was that like to deal with as an assistant coach?
Yeah, it's difficult for us as Penn State because, we like to say that we're a family type organization, and relationships matter, and building those relationships and the trust and faith within a family, they matter to us. And without being in person, it's hard to be truly genuine with another person. But we had to adjust, and one of the good things that we've done is with Zoom and all these virtual tours and things like that. Our recruiting staff did a really, really good job with that. And surprisingly, we didn't lose a kid that was committed to us. Even with our rough start to the season, we felt like we built strong enough relationships with all of these guys that signed yesterday that they never wavered. And, we adjusted to this COVID as well as we could, and it shows by all those guys signing yesterday. So, I'm just proud of our recruiting staff, Andy Frank and his department, our coaching staff, obviously led by Coach Franklin, did a tremendous job of just holding this class together. And, come February, we're going to add a couple more pieces to stamp it and, be very, very proud of it.
Nate Bauer, then Mark Brennan.
Hey, Terry. I'm not sure exactly how to phrase this, but have parents changed? Like, we always talk about kids, right? And if you can think back to the beginning of your coaching career, how has your perception of parents changed, or have parents changed, I guess, through the years?
Yeah, everyone's changing. Hello. Every year it's a new style of recruitment, a new style of involvement. And in today's times, you're dealing with parents that are really active and some parents not so active, handlers that are really active, and, you're just dealing from A to Z. And, on a given kid, you might have a parent that, they want to talk specific to the position, drills, technique, fundamentals, where another parent wants just all academics, where another parent, you don't even communicate with them. They just don't want to be bothered. So, that's our job, is to adjust to each family dynamic. And, what is necessary is what we have to do. So, we're just used to dealing with from A to Z, the good, the bad, and however it comes about. So, parents are, they want the best for their kids. And that's how we have to interpret any relationship. They're not trying to bully you. They're not trying to pry. They want what's best for their kid. And we have to provide and show them all the information and resources that Penn State is a possible fit for them.
Mark Brennan, then Greg Pickle.
Terry, I know he's not on your side of the ball, but do you remember Landon Tangwell at camp when he was in 8th grade, I think it was? And can you speak to the importance of being able to get those camps back so you could have kids like that who have been around the program, and Christian and some other guys?
Yeah. I mean, Landon, I remember that when he came out of 8th grade, it was, he was the talk of the camp, and, there's this big guy just dominating the camp. And obviously we didn't have him this summer. It's a priority for us that if we get these camps, we love to be able to see the talent firsthand. It's one thing, it's one part of the evaluation to watch the film. It's another part of the evaluation to communicate and talk football, get on the board with those guys. But then to see them live and in person, it tells you if it's exactly what you're looking for. And so we can make better decisions when we see them. So we do look forward to the day we can get back out there with the guys and work with them hands-on.
Last question will go to Greg Pickle.
Thanks for your time, Coach. There's obviously been the camps have been obviously not happening. No in-person visits, no game day visits. A lot of problems, I guess you could say, in this cycle. But is there one or two things you guys have learned through how you've had to adapt in this cycle that you say, you know what, this is good for the future. This will work even when in-person visits start again and things like that. Is there anything you can take away as a positive moving forward?
One word, Zoom. We've embraced Zoom. The technology of it. I mean, it's helped us with tours. When you're recruiting a kid from California or Texas or anywhere, now you have the ability to show them campus before they can actually get here and those things. So, it also showed us how the importance of relationships and building stronger bonds, stronger relationships with families and prospects. We always knew it, but we just know it to be more important than ever.